On July 23, 2011, a humid Saturday afternoon in North London, the music world felt a familiar, sickening jolt of déjà vu. Emergency services were called to a three-story house in Camden Square, where they found the body of a 27-year-old woman. It was Amy Winehouse, the girl with the beehive, the wing-tipped eyeliner, and a voice that sounded like it had been distilled in the jazz clubs of the 1940s. To the world, Amy was a superstar. To the 27 Club mythology, she was the missing piece of a puzzle that had been incomplete since the death of Kurt Cobain 17 years earlier. Amy's death was the moment a theory became a cultural obsession once again. But the mystery of Amy Winehouse isn't just about how she died, it's about the ghost she became long before her heart finally stopped. In the years leading up to 2011, Amy had become a sacrificial lamb for the tabloid era. Unlike Jimi Hendrix or Janis Joplin, who died in relative privacy, Amy's decline was broadcast in high definition. We saw the ghost of Amy wandering the streets of Camden barefoot. We saw her struggling to remember her own lyrics on stages in Belgrade. We saw the light leave her eyes while the paparazzi flashes never stopped. Part 1 of this documentary explores the psychological haunting of Amy Winehouse. We look at how a girl who just wanted to sing jazz became the face of a modern tragedy, and how her name was being linked to the 27 Club by the media as if it were an appointment she was destined to keep. The pressure of the 27th year was something Amy was acutely aware of. Friends reported that she had joked about joining the club, but behind the jokes was a profound existential dread. She had achieved everything: 5 Grammys, millions of albums sold, and the respect of her idols, by the age of 23. By 27, she was a woman who had won the game of fame but lost the battle for her own soul. As we look at her final night in Camden, we see a woman who wasn't partying. She was alone, watching YouTube videos of herself, trying to remember who Amy Winehouse was. The investigation into Amy's final hours reveals a story of a heart that simply gave up. After a period of abstinence, Amy had relapsed into heavy drinking. The coroner, Suzanne Greenaway, later confirmed that Amy's blood alcohol level was 416 milligrams per 100 milliliters, more than 5 times the legal driving limit. It was death by misadventure, the same verdict given to Brian Jones. But the forensic truth has a darker layer. The medical report stated that while the alcohol was the catalyst, the true cause was a body decimated by years of bulimia and drug abuse. Her heart was a ticking time bomb that had been weakened by the very industry that continued to book her for world tours. There were no wolves in the room that night, but there were wolves in her history. We examine the role of the people who pushed her onto that stage in Belgrade just weeks before she died, where she was clearly too ill to perform. We look at the duty of care, failure that allowed a woman with a well-documented heart condition and severe addiction issues to be left alone in a house with 3 bottles of vodka. This part of the documentary investigates the missing protection. If Amy had been in a clinical environment instead of a celebrity goldfish bowl, would the 27 Club have been denied its most soulful member? The ghost in the room wasn't just Amy's past, it was the expectation of her future. To the public, Amy's death at 27 felt narratively correct. It fit the story we tell ourselves about tortured geniuses. But forensic science doesn't care about narratives. It cares about the fact that a 27-year-old woman died of a preventable cardiac arrest because she had no one to tell her no. We analyzed the second inquest in 2013, which was triggered by a legal technicality regarding the coroner's qualifications, and how it confirmed the original findings but left the fans asking, why was she alone? With Amy's death, the 27 Club transitioned from a music legend into a legitimate field of study. In late 2011, the British medical journal, BMJ, published a groundbreaking study titled, Is the 27 Club a Myth? Researchers analyzed the deaths of thousands of musicians to see if there was a statistical spike at age 27. Their conclusion was shocking: there is no curse at 27. In fact, musicians are no more likely to die at 27 than at 25 or 32. However, they found that fame itself is the lethal variable. Musicians are 2 to 3 times more likely to die prematurely than the general population at any age. So why the number 27? This part of the documentary explores the Saturn Return theory, the astrological phenomenon where the planet Saturn returns to the same position it was in at your birth, usually between the ages of 27 and 29. It is a period of life auditing and intense pressure. For Amy Winehouse, This period coincided with the total collapse of her personal and professional support systems. We look at the clustering effect, the psychological phenomenon where we cherry-pick famous examples, Jimmy, Janice, Kurt, Amy, to create a pattern where none exists, ignoring the hundreds of artists who died at other ages. But even if the math says it's a myth, the ghost of the theory remains real in its impact. The 27 Club acts as a dark script. When an artist like Amy Winehouse struggles, the existence of the club gives them a sense of belonging in tragedy. It romanticizes the end. We investigate how the media used the 27 Club to market Amy's inevitable death, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. We talk to psychologists about why the human brain is so desperate to turn a medical failure into a legendary milestone. In 2026, 15 years after Amy's death, her ghost still haunts Camden. But the legacy has shifted. The Amy Winehouse Foundation has become a world leader in addiction education for young people, turning her tragedy into a safety net that she never had. The 27 Club theory, while still a staple of late-night documentaries, is now viewed through a lens of mental health awareness rather than destiny. We look at the Amy effect, how her death forced the music industry to finally address the duty of care for its artists. The final verdict of this documentary is that Amy Winehouse didn't die because of a curse, she died because she was a sensitive soul in a predatory machine. The 27 Club isn't a mystical fraternity, it's a symptom of a society that values the art of the sufferer more than the life of the artist. We conclude by looking at the modern artists who survived their 27th year because they saw Amy's ghost and chose a different path. Amy Winehouse's story ends not in the graveyard of the 27 Club, but in the voices of every young girl who picks up a guitar and sings with a raw, honest heart. She proved that you don't have to die to be a legend, even if the club tries to tell you otherwise. We leave the ghost in Camden Square, finally at peace, as we realize that the only way to truly honor the 27 Club is to make sure it never gains another member.